what's going on in the comments as well. Everything seems to be there. Hunky-dory, we're all online. How's your week been? Energy-wise, there was those really big X flares that sort of went off, and everyone was sort of saying that, you know, there was quite a few people saying it's going to hit Earth and stuff like that, and it didn't really. But we have had a geomagnetic storm yesterday and so forth, and it was a bit of a surprise. But I personally would put it down to the coronal hole. This is that Earth energy that I went into in the weekly reading as well. So you know, that earth and fire energy, because it has got a bit of a mixture of that, and it seems like there's going to be a bit more sort of sunspots coming through. So the energy for me this week has been very busy, and that when I did the end message, it's sort of kind of going, you know, warp speed. Did you get that? I don't think everybody got what I was on about, maybe in the title. That's possible, but it was, you know, it was. It's been like that this week. It's been incredibly speedy. Now it's just provoked this whole idea of this live tonight about you know, going into the energies and so forth, and sort of you know, energy. You know, getting in sync with energy, getting in sync with that rhythm and so forth, and it provoked a lot of ideas within me. So let me just explain what happened to me over the past sort of like 2 or 3 weeks. Over the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've been trying to organise to come to the UK. I am finally here in the UK after 3 weeks of trying to get to the UK. And it just seemed like there was one thing after another that was holding me back and stopping me and so forth. And energy was saying to me sort of, whoa, slow down, hang on a second. And it can get a bit frustrating after the while, because you're kind of going, why do I have to be patient and it's not kicking over? So, you know, it's the reason why we've got this live here at the moment. How is everyone, by the way? We've got, I think we've got 5 people watching at the moment, which is not bad. So, yeah, how you all doing? Lovely to see you. I don't know who's watching, but it'd be lovely, you know, you're more than welcome to comment and stuff like that. It's going to be an easy one because of that sort of week of when you're you know, when I started pushing the energy this week, things started really moving very quickly, but it can seem a little bit tiring at the beginning as well. You know, when energy really does kick in, then everything seems to sort of like fall into place. And, you know, I speak to Tanya about this before coming over to the UK and sort of saying, oh, these things have got to fall into place in order, you know, for me to make the journey. And everything seemed to be. And I was doing a lot of healing sessions and stuff like that beforehand. How you doing, Kim? Greetings from hello, New Mexico, lovely. Liddy, how you doing, Liddy? Lovely to see you. Yeah, hope have you all had a good week, by the way. Apparently it's been really hot down your way, Kim. I don't know where you are, Liddy, but I know it's been very hot down in apparently in Texas and stuff like that at the moment. It's been really, really hot at the moment. And that could have something to do with that magnetic system that's going through at the moment over the next few years. But yeah, it's you know, the week that I had leading up to it, there was a lot of things that were coming out that kind of going, okay, I need to push the energy. And when you push the energy and you start pushing the coincidences, and then you start pushing the manifestation. So, you know, there was multitudes of angles that I had to push on at the same time this week, in the earlier part of this week, and it started sort of like coming together, and a lot of things started coming together. Are you from London, Liddy? Right, okay, we're Londoners, yeah. Coral, how you doing? You made it to the beginning of the light. That must be early for you, Coral. You're an early bird, are you? Hi, Coral. So, yeah, London. Has it been quite warm in London? I think it has. I'll get on to the weather in a minute, actually. So yeah, all of this week I was pushing lots of different angles, trying to sort of like get things into position. And there's various things. I had a thing with my motorbike. I had another thing with a barn that I'm trying to sell, and in the Pyrenees. And there's things like that. There's just, and there's also my own personal paperwork. There's also getting the dog ready, Cody ready to go travelling and everything like that. Getting everything into line. And when you're pushing the energy, all of a sudden, things just seem to go like a skipping stone across a lake. And the thing is maintaining that. And sometimes it can go a little bit too fast to maintain. And that's what the whole idea came out for synchronicities. Rain woke you up, Coral. Okay. Well, we're in spring over here. Obviously, you're down in autumn down that way. And, it's been quite a strange spring in places. I think the UK's been getting a lot better weather than we've been getting in the Pyrenees. And as soon as I turn up in the UK, all of a sudden it's cloudy. And I was promised like 3 weeks of sun when I come to the UK. What's going on? So, it's getting all these synchronicities and the synchronicities in place for coming over it demands you to sort of like resync with energy on a regular basis. Now, if you haven't seen that, I did a video sort of about, there's 2 videos in particular that I'm thinking of, which is the energy hygiene routines, which I think is essential. There's also the other one, which was point zero. That's what it was all about. Point zero. So I'm finding one's point zero, and this is it. It's like when you knock a set of dominoes down to get a result, and it's all to do with manifestation, really. Once you start knocking down the dominoes to get the results, then you're going to have a point where you get the result, and then things will calm down. So that's when you resync yourself, get the next domino, and move it on. And you can choose the speed in which you go. But it did seem to, when you're knocking through with the energy, when you're engaging with the energy at the moment, it just seemed to just have that sort of like knock-on effect. That was that knock-on effect, which sort of that domino effect, as it were. And things seem to like go really, really quickly. And I think that's what I was talking about in messages from energy this week here about, are you ready to see what's under the hood of energy? And if we can get this synchronized wave of progression within us as individuals, it will help the collective as well to advance incredibly quickly. So it all comes back to that, finding your point zero, which I think is essential every single day, and even on several times a day. Finding your point zero. And the other thing is, going through those routines that just to clean out your energy, as it were, or to get the flow going cleanly. And that's also incredibly important when you're trying to manifest things, because you've got to start from a clear, independent view, as it were, or point, as it were. And when you've got that independent point, then you can sort of like, that's when you can push exactly in the right direction. It brought on other sort of energy hygiene sort of routines that I go through, and especially within my job, doing the healing and stuff like that. When I started it earnestly, in 2000. I'd been doing sort of healing before that, but I was learning, and energy kept saying to me, wait. And then sort of like 2000 came around, and then that was it. I was allowed to sort of like step into the healing thing. And it just really took off really quickly in the area I was. And it was literally, I'd spoken to the 2 old ladies in the local village shop and told them what I did. And from there, it just went. I didn't have any business cards or anything, and from there, it just went like that domino effect. And what I was noticing though is that, and it is part and parcel of that position in the community that you find yourself, that when you're working through your daily life, you connect with people who you've just seen, say, or you've seen over the past couple of weeks. So I'm constantly like a doctor would do rounds at the hospital. You're doing rounds in your meditation with people that are around you, and it can be incredibly invasive in your life. But then at the time, this was 25 years ago, at the time, I was so enjoying what I was doing. I was allowing it to invade my life, and it was fantastic. I really, I can't say I haven't. There's not many times I haven't enjoyed doing my healing. In fact, I can't say I've never not enjoyed it. There is one instant which I will tell you about in a moment. I just want to finish this. I'm trying to stick to the thread. Forgotten who said it was the other week that I tend to not finish the story, and it's true. I do tend to wander around in the world of energy, but so I did say, sort of noticing that it was getting sort of invasive in the life, and I was enjoying it because it was actually helping me to understand my job a lot more. So, and I was connecting with people. So when I did see them the next time round, I knew sort of what was going on. Like a doctor, as I said, was doing the rounds and stuff like that. And then I realised, I kind of sort of say, I've got kids. My kids started arriving about that sort of time as well, 25 years ago. And, obviously, you can't just sort of like shut the world out, as it were, forever. I was enjoying my place as being father of my children, and I should take them to school, I should collect them at lunchtime, prepare them lunchtime meals and take them back. I should do a big allotment and do my own purees for the baby, and out of the produce I was making out in the garden and stuff like that. It's absolutely fantastic. I was living, I was really enjoying living life. So, and to stop that invasive part of it, I needed to find a cut-off switch, and rather than sort of doing something and then getting like an aching shoulder and kind of going, oh, that's Madame Dubois or Mr. Jones who's got that problem with that shoulder, what's going on with them? Okay, I can feel they're getting a little bit stressed, so I can then help them out with the meditation. But it did sort of get a little bit invasive. So what I developed from there, and many people talk about this in healing, is about sort of when you do a healing session, and then you sort of you wash yourself off, you clean yourself off, and I was that's what the energy point zero video was all about, or going back to that sort of thing. And it's difficult when you're constantly within that sort of almost channeling permanently within your life, constantly doing it. It's difficult to know when it's being switched off and when it's actually working, and what your neutral position was or is. So I worked out, so I talked to trees and stuff like that, because obviously trees do talk, everybody knows that. So I have good conversations with trees and stuff like that, and animals and what have you. Bit of a Dr. Dolittle gone mad, and they have a particular type of character, and they can remember your setting like a friend. If you're off, your friend might turn around to you, hopefully, if they're a friend of yours, sort of saying, "Are you okay?" Because it seems like you're a little bit, you're off on a trail, as it were. So the tree was like a friend of mine. So I would, it would be in my garden, because people would come to my place to see me, and so I would with the tree, it's got a certain type of rhythm that you need to be in line with in order to have a conversation with the tree, because otherwise you're not going to understand each other. It's a tree. They talk tree. I talk English or French, and you've got to get yourself in sync with it. And when you get yourself, so I between each client, I would just take to the tree. I'd know its syncopation rhythm, so I could go there and I could go, okay, so I'm synced with it, and the tree would kind of look at me as if to sort of kind of go, yeah, you're good to go on then, sort of scenario. And it's really funny. then I think about it. I give names to my plants, by the way, like everybody does, because it's normal, you know. And so, you know, then I started working on house plants and stuff like that. And so it's that synchronicity of getting in line with energy is really important. So all of this week here has been moments of pushing the energy, but as I put my foot on the accelerator, things just really were starting moving very quickly, which is what that warp speed thing is all about. And certainly from when I recorded it right through to when I recorded it on the Tuesday. Normally I record it like sort of like just a couple of hours before it came out, but the way things were going, it was needed to be slightly recorded just, you know, sort of day in advance, as it were. But you know, I understood that warp speed moment, but you can't go do that permanently because you'll get burnt out. And also what you're trying to manifest, it will find its manifestation point. Well, it will manifest. So you know, you have to have these moments where you resync your energy with the environment around you or with yourself, so then you can see clearly what you're trying to put your energy and time and emotions and physical presence into. And sometimes if the pathway is incredibly long, you should think of it in stages or in chapters, rather than just kind of waking up, kind of going, okay, I've got to do this, and then going to sleep, then waking up, kind of, I've got to do this. Because that's when the rut happens, and you end up actually in stopping yourself from getting the results that you so wish, simply because, you know, you're not involving life like me with my kids and everything like that, and the garden and what have you. You know, if you don't involve that, you actually find, I found my projects tended to work slower in a way. So this week here has been incredibly manic this week. And then I finally, you know, and I drove over to, I drove over to the UK on, I got lost in the days, you know, what was it? I must have started on Thursday, I think. No, Friday, that's right, Friday. I started driving on Friday, and it was a lovely journey. I really enjoyed it, and I've done it loads of times, and it's around about 1,200 kilometres in total, which is around about 800 miles, 850 miles. And so I'm doing it with Cody, so I'm not on my own at least. But it was a really enjoyable journey. Much more enjoyable than it has been in the past, and I think that may have been the reticent, you know, of my knowledge of the past that sort of slowed me down. So I had that hectic thing getting on a boat, and there was certain things that were slightly out of sync. So I was having a problem, for example, when I came to the passport control on the French side. I was having problems with my passport. I couldn't find my passport. And then there was a problem with the passport for Cody, my dog. And there was just little sort of like, you know, sort of like things that were going that didn't really sync. And this is where, you know, I needed that moment to resync. Once I'd finally got onto the ferry, I resynced with the ferry, well, not the ferry itself, with the, you know, when I was out in the sea. So, you know, you can find a rhythm of the local energy that you're finding yourself in, and then you can sync yourself to it, and it's almost as if like you put yourself in suspension, and you kind of go, oh, okay, it's over there, I should be going, right, okay, I get it. So when I got off the boat on the other side, and you know, and I do it normally that sort of journey 3 times at least a year, if not 4, and you know, I know I've got, you know, you've got passports to give and everything like that, and you've got customs control and stuff like that. And it was really weird. I was coming off the boat and going towards the police for the passport control, and the policewoman, she looked away for 2 seconds, and as I approached, she just she wanted to stop me and pull me over so my car could be searched and everything like that. But she looked at me and she kind of went, go on then. And I knew I'd got back into sync of things. And this is what I mean, it's like why it's really important to sort of like sync yourself with the energies. It does make your life easier And it's making the little things easier, makes the goals a lot more feasible, a lot more possible, as it were. So, that's, and certainly with, as the energy comes forward and starts changing in life, it's going to become more and more important. So if you haven't seen that point zero video or energy hygiene video, or even the AI NI with the nature intelligence, you can get the same sort of answers, and probably even better from NI than you can from AI. So that's as we go more and more into that pole shift, I think it's going to become more and more important as we go through. And I am working on that cycle 26 on the solar cycles, and because I think we're going into solar cycle 26 within the next year, and I think this is going to be a solar cycle like no other. It's going to be a really interesting video, and I think it has a lot to do with the pole shift, but it also has a lot to do with us as individuals and collective, how we run society, or how we engage in it, how we engage in our evolution, and so forth, and how we start manifesting a new future. So I think it's this cycle that's coming up I think it's going to be so off the wall. It's almost as if there's going to be like 2 or 3 cycles that are happening at the same time. And they, I don't know if you guys remember that tablet that I got from the portal. They've been asking me to go and have a look at that, or they asked me in the last messages from Energy to go and have a look at that concerning solar cycle 26, which, as I say, is coming up. And I'll be doing a video about that in the near future, next week. But yeah, so I think this synchronization with energy is going to become more and more important in everybody's life, so you can maintain in the here and now. And let's imagine, so this is how it really works, is if you imagine you're like a migratory bird, I'm like a migratory bird. I seem to be doing that all across Europe, like that, going like that. And if you're in sync with the wind, the bird doesn't really have to flap its wings so much. You can be carried by the winds as you go through it goes from as they go on their travels, like planes as well that go across the Atlantic. Sometimes they get caught in the Gulf Stream, and they can be hurtling along at 600-700 miles an hour. It's unbelievable the speeds they can be going at. And so this is where I think we're going to realise that actually this can happen for us as well, and just got to be ready for, so you know where you're going and stuff like that, and that's why you sync with the energy. You know where you're going, so you don't get blown off course. And birds do, it happens to all of us, so we don't get blown off course going forward, as it were, towards our goals. And also you don't overshoot basically where you should be in the here and now. And I think that is going to be the most important thing going forward for the next 10 years, being in the here and now in regards to energy. And a lot of people are not going to get it around you. They're really not going to get it. And sometimes it's difficult, and you can get distracted. And that's why we do that, getting in sync. In sync, actually, isn't that a name of a group? I've got a name of a group now coming to me. In Sync. Yeah, it was a name of a group, In Sync. I can't remember what they were singing. Yes, so getting in sync with yourself, I think, is really, really important. And having routines of finding that point zero is really important. How did everyone else week been going? Certainly I would say from Wednesday. Have you noticed this speed thing, that when you engage in something, all of a sudden it starts going a lot quicker than maybe you anticipated, and it might have been a little bit difficult for you? Did you, or even it worked absolutely brilliant, and you felt the good vibrations, as it were? excuse me for my tea. Well, I'm not going to be asked to be excused for my tea, actually. Oh, you're recovering from a rotator cuff. Are you Mr. Jones that I was talking to earlier on? No sleep, allergic to painkillers, and no relief from the of pain during the night. This has come from Liddy, by the way. Strange enough, yes, time is passing fast and completely gaga during the day. Okay, so even if you're not really doing much, because you won't be able to do much with your rotator cuff, is it your right or your left, Liddy? Obviously, if you can't do much, you may think that, there's nothing going on in life, but it just seems to be going on really, really quickly. Nature listens. Yes, Tom. NSYNC. Is that something to do with New York? NSYNC was In Sync was the band. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Nature Listens. It's Anne, isn't it? If I'm getting to remember right, I'm hopeless at remembering names. Okay, so you hopefully hopeless at remembering names. I do apologise. Okay, so it's on your right one, so it's on that one there. Okay. And have they rejoined the tendons together? Is that what the operation was all about? Yeah. It was NSYNC. NSYNC. That was some time ago. NSYNC. Don't forget about enjoying, usually a rotator cuff on the right hand side, depending on what you do as a job, obviously, and stuff like that, and as I say in healing, you've got to look at the physical, the emotional and the energetic and stuff like that. And you'll find out, what percentage is physical, what percentage is emotional, what percentage is energetical. And once you can get those percentages, you can see when you're heavy, you're relying on too much on one thing. So, so like for hairdressers and so forth, when they're holding that, they can have problems with their rotator cuff. Feels like nature, I haven't forgotten Lily, by the way, but just saying what nature listens here. Feels like nature is speeding along from spring to early summer. I get that. Hawthorns had amazing flowers. I was out walking today with Tanya. Tanya and I were out walking. Great walk. And yes, the hawthorns were real bloom. It's absolutely amazing, really, where they're going. And has amazing flowers. This year, now almost over. And at a most terrifying speed. It's very strange this year in that sort of sense. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in the way of nature. I think because this is it. I think nature and trees and so forth, they're ahead of the curve. They know they're already getting into the change of the vibration. And the more this is why finding that 0.0 and also, that NI nature intelligence, I think it's going to help us enormously to avoid any complications in the future. So let's just have a look on your rotator cuff there. Let me just have a quick look on that. Okay. A bit short, Liddy. Don't forget, don't sacrifice your happiness for others. Do you understand? Don't carry too much of the world upon your shoulders where you end up not doing activities that you enjoy because you're busy helping others to enjoy things. It's great to help other people. I totally agree with that. And I would suggest it and I would encourage it. But at the same time, like I always say, don't forget to keep the piece of cake for yourself. When you make that cake, you've got to keep a piece for yourself. So don't sacrifice that sort of side of things, you know. So we just help that sort of like come along, so it's like doesn't cause you any sort of problems going forward. All right. Okay, so it should be a little bit easier for you and stuff like that. It does go up a little bit in the back of the neck and stuff like that, come up a little bit that sort of side. So it is pulling a little bit, so just be sort of like gentle with it, you know. Obviously, you know, stretching is going to be really important as you go forward. But yeah, there you go. That could well be something, the reason why I was sort of saying, you know, Mr. Jones with the problem with the shoulder earlier on. So yeah, if you get in sync, like nature listen says, like Anne's saying, I have got it right, haven't it? It is Anne, isn't it? Please tell me I'm right. I would be so chuffed with myself. You know, you could probably even lie to me and I'll be chuffed with it. But you know, as if you do pay attention to what is going on about you, it's like Eskimos. I don't know if you call them Eskimos. You're allowed to call them Eskimos, or you're not allowed to call them, you know, Inuits. Is it Inuit? No, I don't know. But people who live in the northern pole regions, you know, they would count the ticks on seals and stuff like that to predict the weather. So, Anna, that's right. I got it so close. I do apologise, Anna. That's right. I got one letter. I was a couple of letters out. So you know, I'm chuffing myself. I managed to get that far. Pleasure, Liddy. Always a pleasure. Yes. So yeah, and they look at things like that. They look at nature and see the changing process of nature, because it does change all the time. And we get these moments when, you know, you get a good summer and you get a bad summer. You know, those sort of things. And I was working with a theatre. With a theatre 2 days after the operation. Hey, cool. Okay, good. You must have been enjoying that, I hope. Yeah? You must have been enjoying it. So that's good. Everything's working cool. Yes, so, you know, being in contact with the nature around us helps us enormously to anticipate what is coming around the corner. Yeah, thanks. My memory, see, this is it. I'm not going senile. That's not what it is. They've been telling me I'm going senile since I was 20, so I don't mind anymore. I think I've even forgotten that I'm going senile. So having those connections from everybody else is, you know, from nature around us, is going to help us enormously going forward as the energy flips and those bubbles come out to the surface. Lynn, good morning from Australia. How you doing? You know, so this resyncing your energy is really important, and it does come from a place as well where, you know, being realistic about things. And the best thing is doing this sort of like 25, 30 years ago, doing the healings and stuff like that, and being much more of a younger soul at that time, you know, or a younger physical body at that time. And you've got different outlooks, and that's all to do with the rhythms in life, which we go through enormously in the Astroflower. And the Astroflower, you know, Tanya's done an amazing job working on that, an absolutely amazing job, and that comes into the whole rhythm of the Astroflower, which we will be bringing to the fore in the coming weeks. And you've got a different type of energy when you're in your early 20s than when you are a lot later in life, in your 50s. You know, it's you're in a different space, obviously. So you know, working with that energy and finding those sort of like synchronicities and stuff like that when I was a lot younger is you know, it's a completely what seemed possible 25, 30 years ago is not what is possible now. In fact, if anything, it's hugely much more fantastic now than it was 20, 30 years ago. You know, 20, 30 years ago, you know, it's you know, dreaming of the transition. And it's the reason I left the UK 30 odd years ago. It's the reason I left the UK, because that's what I was told to do. I was told to follow the pathways, follow the energy. But I knew this change was coming up 30 odd years ago. I've been waiting around for that change, and I wrote the book, The Event, around that time, 30 odd years ago. And then, and I lost it at the time, and Tanya and I rewrote it again. I'm sure Tanya will remind me, but it's 4, 5, maybe 6 years ago, and I've been waiting for this time for 30 odd years, and now it's here. It's, as I say, being realistic is really important, but also at the end of the day, also understanding that we are moving into fantastic times. So it's definitely got to be. What seemed impossible in the past is now becoming possible. Very much a page of cups sort of scenario. Okay, so we've got some other ones. Liddy, Liddy. So well, you are right about thinking of others. Oh, thank you very much. That's good. About energy of the week, it felt like during a film when everybody speeding around you, and you are able to stand still and look at the situation around you. Excellent. VJ, hello, how you doing? That's Maria. Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly that. And that's what I imagine when when the birds are doing their migration, they get caught up in the not the Gulf Stream obviously, but in very high up, and they get caught in that sort of stream of air going through. They don't really have to. They can enjoy the journey, but they're really going somewhere really quite quickly. And that's what the energy. That's what I was talking about in the messages from energy. If you haven't seen it, but about the warp speed, and it all seems to be driven as well by fun and happiness as well. Katie Rainbow made it to the welcome. It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to see everybody. You know what I mean? It's great. It's really nice. You can definitely feel it in the air. And this is from Lynn. Definitely feel it in the air. Beautiful opportunity for wonder. I think so as well. I think there is so Veta. Is that your name? Veta? Is it really? Okay. I didn't really know that before. That's nice. Veta. Okay. So welcome, Veta. Am I saying it right? I hope I'm saying it right. But yeah, we can have wonders. And people talk about sort of like astral projection and stuff like that, and coming out of your body and everything like that. And yeah, that is, and I think levitation and stuff like that can be, getting into Jedi sort of material here. I think that is very possible. The thing is, and I've noticed this for an incredibly long time, Kitty Cat, how you doing? Good day. Yes, BBC, beautiful British Columbia. Excellent. Not the BBC media company then, it's beautiful British Columbia. Excellent. Yeah, lovely to see you. And and people talk about that, and people have been talking to me about that for the last 40 years, and I, because I was doing a lot of dowsing and doing a lot of trying to understand energies, I was sort of saying to people, energy, what we could have done 2,000 years ago. We don't have the energy, the energy of the earth, and we're totally dependent upon it, is not in the condition to support let's say levitation. It's not possible simply because the vibration of the earth is so it's not the vibration, the actual energy quantity is really low because it's going into that pole shift, and it's becoming a lot more intense, the energy. That's what's happening. It's not increasing in energy at all. It's like, as I explained it many times, but it's like when you're doing a sauce and then you're gradually boiling off the water of the sauce, it gets more concentrated. You taste a lot more of the sauce, as it were. And that's what's happening in energy. It's becoming a lot more intense, but not necessarily that we've got a lot of energy about. And that's why we get a lot of people who feel a bit tired and so forth. But it doesn't necessarily, the vibration itself is the harmonics has not got, you can play a different harmonics even if you've got low energy, or the harmonies or the vibration, So, and I think this is what we're moving into over the next 10 years as we move through this sort of pole shift sort of thing. All of a sudden, the energy will go pop back. And as it does come back intensely, I think we're going to be able to do a lot more amazing things in the coming future once we go through that transition. But until we get there, we're almost limited of what we can actually do for the time being. But getting involved in those possibilities is enormous, I think, at the moment. Yeah, absolutely enormous for us. You can definitely think it in the end. The wonders, that's it. Good. Long C sound. Is that right? Long C sound. So not. Oh right. Okay. Veda. Okay. Is that right? Yeah. Veda. I think I got it right. Yeah, it's always good to learn, isn't it? Every day's a school day. Where are you from, Veda? I should probably know this, but yeah. So that's all about the getting things in sync, really, in the way of sort of energies. And I think, as I say, I think going forward, it's going to become more and more important. And sometimes you end up doing things that, in a normal state, I guess you'd question whether it's a good idea or not and stuff like that. And this is where I think there's some people who will get totally out of sync with the change that's coming through, which might be a little bit difficult for them, but it doesn't, you shouldn't really stop following your pathway. This is it. Everyone's on their thing. It's like, I was talking to Tanya as well the other day about this, about Dolores Cannon. And we were talking about the Akashic Libraries, which we should do a live on, another live about that as well. And she was asking me about sort of like the Akashic Library in the centre of the earth that I keep going on about. And so we were talking about what is the purpose of having part of the Akashic Library in another part of the earth and the main Akashic elsewhere, and things like that. So. And it was sort of like this change. Why did I start that, friend? With this change that's sort of happening between one thing and the other. It's like Dolores Cannon's of the splitting of the two earths. I don't think the physical splitting of the two earths. We still live in the law of physics and stuff like that, and we have to be realistic about. And I think what she was talking about, Dolores. Was basically that sort of thing where it's like a seed from a tree will grow another tree. It will not be the same tree, but it will be, an oak tree will plant an oak tree, but it will not necessarily, it won't be the same tree. It's a continuum of that, but it's a continuum of the physical, as it were, in that sort of sense when you're planting a seed. But this is a continuum of the spirit that comes through. So it's like there's like an essence of our human learning which is being safeguarded in case we lose that other part of the Akashic Library. So not everything gets lost, and if it all gets lost, it's simply because that human species experience has explored everything that energy wishes to be explored. And it's come to an end, so it can be a bit of a, we try things out, and if they don't work, the change in way in which we do that. So then, and that's, so you can lose species simply because you've tried it out. That particular species couldn't make that jump from one thing to another, but it was a lot of lessons learned, but it will be lost to the lost to the past, as it were, and it will be lost to the sands of time, and we won't be able to really read those Akashic libraries, you know. But there is there's an essence that continues on. So I've really gone off topic again, haven't I? I can't help myself. Oh yeah, you're from Jamaica, that's right. I do it in the West Indies. Oh, lovely. I was out in where was I? I was in Montserrat. Just after it was like, I think I came a year after the eruption that devastated the island. It was a beautiful feeling, the volcano erupting and the eruption there. It was really nice. So yeah, so important energy to feel the difference between yours and others. Totally. That's what that whole synchronicity is all about. So to really go back to what I was talking about earlier on, when I was doing a lot of healing and I was seeing people, I'd have moments in my day where I'd go into meditation, and I'd go into my meditation, and then I'd choose the moment to go into the rounds, and then you can feel like the vibration of the others, and that's when you can kind of go, okay, so that's not working as it should be. I need to make adjustments to that and stuff like that. So you tend to sort of like see people constantly, but knowing your energy, knowing you, knowing me. I've got ABBA now going through my brain. It's like that's really important, because when you do know that, it's very easy to see when things are not setting right, if you know what I mean. So, it's really, really important to, I totally agree with that. To have that synchronicity with energy, you will be able to see your energy and the energies of others a lot quicker and a lot easier. I'd like to have a GHHT session. Is it a QHHT? This is from Vita. You're living in the US, and you remember having about the eruption on the news many years ago. Yeah, it was Montserrat, lovely people. I started off in St. Lucia, and then we took the boat over from St. Lucia and ended up in Montserrat. And I think there was, because the volcano took out the airport and took out, I think it was, isn't Plymouth? Is it Plymouth, the capital of Montserrat? Anyway, took out the capital as well. So it really affected the Montserratians, or the people from Montserrat. I don't know what we call them, but people from Montserrat, and it really did affect them. And so there wasn't really any tourism going on. I think we were only like 10 tourists on the island at that time, and it was brilliant. They still had the carnival and everything like that. Love the Caribbean. Love the Caribbean. You need your glasses. Me too. Yeah, I know. I need glasses. Lots of them. Yes. Knowing about your energy and the energies of the world around you, and it's not just from people as well. It's also from the vibration, to know when to, start a line of manifestation. Start a project goal and stuff like that. Start knocking down those dominoes and stuff like that. So it helps us to progress enormously. And when we do progress enormously, we're going to realise that the world's a completely different place. It's no longer got this form of governance that we had before, and we can really break a lot of chains that have been holding us back, I think, in the future, through this whole sort of common sense evolution, which I think we are going through at the moment. It's really important. Cloud9 Arts from Wales, how you doing? I was wondering, has anyone else experienced differences with chakras alignments in recent weeks as we shift? Let me just see, make sure, especially turquoise white light location between higher heart and throat. Okay, so then that could be like the third eye that's shifting. I used to do chakra readings on this channel about 4 years ago, and I realised I was a bit too. It was too much It was too much for people off. You know, I'm going back to that, by the way. I'm going to go back to channeling the energy, and thank you very much, Cloud9. Absolutely great, great thing. Yeah, I totally get it. And I was talking about the shifting shape of chakras as we go into this transformation. And yes, it's like the energies, if you imagine, it's like the energies are inverting. So your crown will become your root will become your crown, your third eye, and your throat chakra will become your your sacrum, and your sacrum will become your throat and your third eye. And I think it's going to change a lot of ways in the way we shift those chakras in the future. And yes, it will have moments of that happening, I think, and certainly noticing it a lot within the healing sort of side of things. But it hasn't been really constant, like a fixed change, as it were. It's in the process. It almost like it kind of goes 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, that sort of thing. So, you might well start experiencing that whole sort of shifting of chakras, and it puts a completely different perspective on things, and that's why this synchronicity thing is really important. And I was, as I say, 4 years ago, I was doing chakra readings and aura readings on the channel for each sign, and I will be going back to that a lot in the near future. It's quantum healing hypnotherapy. Oh, right, that's Dolores Cannon's quantum. Okay, right, okay, yeah. Unfortunately, Dolores, you have to do it through spirit if you're going to do it with Dolores. Because she's moved on. She's moved along, as it were. I think it was a bit of a headache, and I will be coming back to that. And I will, I want to get more into energy. That's pleasure, Cloud9. Lovely to see you, Isla. It's. Yeah, so I think that's going to be. I think that's really going to feels like some kind of activation. Yeah, totally get that. I think it's just it's like a pendulum that's swinging from one side to another. It's a perpetual change that we're going through, and it's always there. And so the pendulum swings one side, and it's all that side of the pendulum swing is still there. It needs to be there because otherwise the pendulum can't be on the other side. So it exists, and it's just like it lights it up as it goes through. So yes, I guess it's activation to a certain extent, but I wouldn't say it's activation because it's already there. It's a bit like the whole quantum mechanic thing, which is being very questioned at the moment within the physics world enormously. Because maybe the interpretation of the double split experiment, we got wrong at the beginning, and I've been talking about that for some time, sort of saying, if you listen to all of the 33 scientists on the 1933 panel, there was one called Ohms who put a bit of a fly in the ointment, as it were. And I think that fly in the ointment is coming back to the quantum mechanics sort of things. So it's that sort of thing. Everything exists. It's just having that optic to make it shine at one particular time. And I guess you could say activate, yeah. But it's activating something that maybe exists. I'm a bit sort of political like that. You could say it's activation. So this comes from Lily about chakras. few weeks back, the sky in London had a shade of pink, and I remember hearing lots of podcasts on heart chakra. Do you know what? How long ago was this? A few weeks ago. There was a time I was talking to Tanya when I was in France, and I was saying that the sky seems to be red. It seemed to have a pink sort of glow about it. And I was in forest, so I couldn't really see much of where it was coming from or anything like that. Could have been about at the same time. The activation of the heart chakra, I think if you've seen my energy lines that I've got, and with the world chakra system as well that I've got, and the heart chakra being in the actual crossing point of the heart chakra is in St Michael's Mount in Cornwall. I think it's a shift that's going on in that sort of sense where those energy points are going to be changing in the near future, and that could be part of it, because the electricity within the earth is also connected to the electricity that's in the sky, and they arc between the two, and that is becoming a lot more compressed, and it's making that arc change, which will allow for adaptations of where central points of chakras are on the earth may change in the future. When you invert the energy on my map, you do have the crown chakra and the root chakra goes to exactly the same point, and that's the only two chakras that do that on the earth one. And so there could be a lot happening with the heart chakra, and even I was talking about the heart chakras a lot getting activated about sort of like a few weeks ago as well, Liddy, and I totally get it. But as I say, at the moment it seems to be like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, so it sort of activates and then calms down, then activates again, and then as it gets more and more activated, then it's sort of like it's almost on permanently. It's a bit like 808 state, higher state of consciousness, that song there. It just seems to be kind of goes up and up and up and up. So it's a gradual sort of process that we're going through, and this is why being in sync with our energies is really important, and getting in syncing on a permanent basis is really important. So I don't know if anybody else saw that, but did anyone see that thing about that? This is part and parcel of that cycle 26, that beam of light that came over America during the start of the solar storm in the sky, and there was no real source from it. And there was multitudes of channels, that talked about it. I think Suspicious Observers talked about it as well. So, I think that's part and parcel of it. On the topic of hearts, this comes from Veta. I'll get there later. On the topic of heart, I've seen heart-shaped clouds and heart-shaped openings in the clouds 4 times already this year. Oh right, okay. I took them as messages of love being shared with me. I was, that's very possible. Maybe it was time. Did you meet someone? Liddy, I really feel it through my body, like a beautiful wave of gratitude. The body is your activator. Without your body, you can't feel anything, for a start. Without your body, the body is the reason we feel things. This is why when you go over to pure energy, you can't actually feel anything. I know that sounds really weird, but so you can't actually feel love, but you can't feel hate either. You can't feel frustration. So it's like your body is like, it's like a radio that depends on what you're tuning into is what you're going to feel. So I think, totally get it, feeling it going through the body. And I get a lot of that gratitude at the moment as well. Going to see 808 State playing in a cave in a couple of weeks. You're joking. Really? have a good time. Once it starts, once it starts kicking in, please, do a bit of dancing for me. 808 State, great. High Aesthetic Consciousness, great song. But yeah, fantastic. That's really random, that because that's quite some time ago. 808. So being in sync with the energy, I think, is going to become more and more important. And as we bring forth the Astroflower in the near future, Tanya and myself, I think that whole synchronicity thing is also going to play a really important part, because the Astroflower is something that basically, I was been trying to develop for the last sort of like 20 years, and thankfully Tanya turned up to help me, pull it out of me. She's absolutely amazing. And I was trying to create something so it could help the people that would come and see me, so then they wouldn't need to come and see me so much. It sounds really counterproductive for me as a business, as it were, and I never really thought of myself as a business, but so trying to create that sort of, it's like a development tool, and it's really come alive over the past month and a half. Really, over the last month and a half, really come alive, and I can't wait for us to be presenting to you the things we're exploring at the moment. It's been absolutely brilliant. Will do, and sending out gratitude to the earth as well. Yes. Yeah, and that's what the other thing I talked about on the messages from energy this week as well. I talked about it, for the first time, because when I'm dealing with the energy from Earth, it was like, I wouldn't say it was an authority figure, but it was like the energy was sort of kind of going, there it is, it's like this, like that. And for the first time, it was almost as if like we'd graduated, and it was like the parent that was so proud of us as it's their children, that we're making it, and it's just kind of going, I can't tell you how it is anymore, you're going to show me. And there seemed to be a huge amount of gratitude or love coming from Mother Earth, coming from Gaia. You might well be able to ask it on the live very soon, in the very near future. I'll let you ponder it. It's always good to work things out. I'm not going to make it easy for you. So when this is from Veta, so when we think we're feeling love, it's the frequency of gratitude and appreciation that we're feeling. I'm a Cancer, so really interested in the concept of feeling. Yeah, see, love, unfortunately, has been labelled on so many different things now that it's actually lost its value to me. So, and it's I look at love between me and another person as just utter respect. And, Tanya and I have utter respect for one another. That's what I feel like it is, in a way. So, and it's because I love the beach. I love nice cars. Well, not nice cars. I do love nice cars, actually, but very particular ones. But I love, you can love a lot of different things, and it just tarnishes that idea of love between two people, and because obviously this is what we're talking about when you sing the clouds and stuff like that, just to get everyone back on board for that. And yeah, it's maybe that's nature as well, sort of saying to you, love to you, gratitude to you, gratitude and appreciation to you. Yeah, it's probably a really good frequency of gratitude and appreciation. And I think that's true as well. you know, it's difficult for a child to say, they can say I love you, dad, or love you, mum, and stuff like that, and it's absolutely beautiful. But there's nothing better as well that you get from your child when they're grown up and they can understand and comprehend the depth and the intensity of gratitude and appreciation. So you are appreciating them. This is what I felt from the earth, as much as they are appreciating you, and that's when the fair exchange comes in. So, um, you know, so yeah, so yeah, it could be, gratitude is and respect is the new love. Yeah, and that's, so I try and keep away from the idea of sort of love, as it were, and try and get it a bit more precise, like sort of gratitude and appreciation. Just seems more honest, I think, because it's just too easy to sort of, you know, to label everything as love. And I can understand it. There is that universal love. There's that one-to-one love. There's that, you know, it is a particular type of feeling, as it were, in it. But it's got as much as, say, like blue or red is a colour, and it's got lots of nuances, and maybe that's what love's all about. It's got lots and lots of different types of nuances. So yeah, I completely understand what you mean. That's from Lynn. I think love as a word has lost its a little of its meaning. This is it. It's sometimes too easy to say. Lost that sort of thing. I do, however, love everything. It consists of heart. Hang on a second. I do, however, love everything. It consists of heart. Yeah, when you're engaged with your heart in something, I think that's what you can genuinely say. I love doing that, or I love that person, or I love all of that sort of situation and so forth. It's like I do totally get it, and it is a particular type. You get the opposite to love as well. And you get the opposite to all sort of sensations, and it's a very particular sort of sensation. So it's not just a case of love thy neighbour, it's just a case of love life, and you will automatically love thy neighbour. So but that's it's coming back to the synchronicities, and there's going to be loads more coming out on the Astroflower, about the Astroflower. I think we're going to start bringing it forth as a really good self-development tool. And once Odila, how you doing? Lovely to see you. Once you get that self-development tool, I always say when I'm doing my workshops, I'm not actually teaching you anything. What I'm doing is that I'm teaching you to learn. Once you know how to learn, you don't need me, because I don't want to be needed by anyone. I want to be wanted to be, by anyone, so the Astroflower does a really good job of helping people to learn about yourself more than anything else, yeah, and we're going to bring a lot more of that to the fore. Adelia, lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. But I've been travelling all weekend, and I said to myself, "Thank you, Lynn." I said to myself, "I'll try and keep this short this week, because sometimes I can whittle on for hours." I was going to keep it short this week, and I can feel my voice already going a little bit. So, and I've got a lot of videos to do this week and stuff like that. So, Nature Listens, thank you very much. Veta, thank you very much. Lynn, thank you very much. Adelia, thank you very much for being here. Liddy, thank you very much. Absolutely lovely. Everybody else that sort of like joined in. Cloud9, thanking you very much. Just going through. Kit Kat, lovely, thanking you very much. Katie Rainbow, thanking you very much as well. Absolutely lovely to see you all. It's absolutely beautiful to see everybody. Okay, so I'm just to sort of like save my voice, and also sort of, as I say, it's been a hard sort of like 2 or 3 days, as it were. Absolutely beautiful to see everybody, here. But yes, I'm gonna be wrapping things up. Is there anything in particular that that there was a question in anything in particular that there was that we had, or any sort of observation, any parting thought? For myself, I think it's going to be really important to find out about solar cycle 26 in the next coming week, because it's going to help a lot of how to prepare the understanding of this shift that we're going through. Don't mean to change subject. Yeah, go on then, Kim. Why not? Yeah, why not, Kim? Please do change subject. You know what I mean? What did you say? But I love the lotus on the wall behind. Do you really? Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's lovely. I've had to put up an improvised studio here. Is that a carving on a shell? It's beautiful. It's almost like a drum in a way, sort of like a tapestry, sort of thing. I'm sure it will feature in the future because it is lovely. So yeah, thanking you everybody, thanking you audience, thanking you everybody for being here with us. Are we approaching solar maximum, or do you believe it has already? I believe it's already passed, please. Veta. I think it's already passed. Easy. I even said it back in October last year. I said it was over. I said we were going to get moments of, spikes, but they're not actually really going to hit the earth. And we got the last spike I said would come around Christmas, and it came just after Christmas. Yeah, I think solar cycle 25 is done, and I think it's been done for some time. And this is why I think solar cycle 26 is going to be. It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Something like we've never seen before. It's not a case of just being completely nothing available. I think it's going to be a very interesting cycle. So I'm glad you love the show, Adelia. I hope it's very inspiring. The thing is, if we get inspired and we start doing stuff, we're gonna be in a we will be in a much better world the world will be in a much better place going forward. Okay, as I got it right at the phone just now, did I? Veta. My constraint at the front of the wall, get it wrong. I do apologise. Thank you everybody for being here. It's been an absolute joy, as it is every weekend. I will be doing more on sort of spirits and stuff like that as well at some point, in the near future, in the lives and stuff like that. But thanking you, 2026 is year one. Could well be a video. Could well be pretty much of the new cycle, So thanking you all for being here with us. It's been absolutely brilliant. Really do appreciate it. Appreciate all the support over the last 4 or 5 years of doing this channel and everything like that. It's been absolutely amazing. I feel what we've been trying to create in the background, Tanya and I, is really coming to a pinnacle at the moment. And it's certainly, I feel that there's a big change happening in the video content that I will be doing in the near future. As I said, I'm going to be moving much more towards the energy-based readings rather than tarot readings and stuff like that. So things will be changing in the near future, and certainly the Astroflower aspect of it is going to really come to the fore a lot more. So, thank you for all of the support you've given us over this last sort of 4 years. It's been absolutely brilliant to see. And as I say, it is like an Astroflower family. We are here to help each other out. If you're having a hard day, don't be scared to say, because we're all in the same boat and we're all trying to make it through, and it's, it'd be, you know, thank you, Coral, thank you. Another busy weekend ahead, depending on the roads due to flooding. I hope that gets sorted for you, as much for my kid as well. Looking forward to the Astro stuff and the book on for Scorpio. Kim, lovely, thanking you very much. Thanking everybody. I'm going to sort of, I will respect you and I will see you all very soon. So, you know, lovely to see, and I will see you soon. Take care. Ciao for now.